Hello and welcome. Today is the first in a series of learning the Khmer language. Unfortunately on the internet there's not a lot of good material out there and in publications as well for learning the Khmer language. So I've decided to basically share my experiences with the Khmer, the Khmer culture, and by teaching the language. And so today we're going to cover some very basics. Again, this is the first lesson of the Khmer language. And I hope you guys can benefit from it. If you're interested in learning Khmer itself, I would recommend some great books that are out there. There's not a lot, but there are some. The first one is Cambodia for Beginners by Richard Gilbert, which is a great book. I'm waiting for a second edition, but there's not one out there yet. And obviously I've used it more than it's used. Yeah. So, but it's great. You can get it on eBay for a little over $20. If you're a Mandarin speaker, then I would highly recommend Han Jian Hui Hua, which is great. You can get it on Chinese Taobao. And it's got some great vocabulary in here, some great sentence patterns. It's a native Phnom Penh speaker, so it's very standard dialect. Also, what we'll be using for this class is the Everyday Khmer, Everyday Khmer, and which is great. It's published right out of Phnom Penh. It's got some great sentence patterns in it. The dialogue portion that you see behind me is actually from this book itself. And so in a second here, I'll play the CD-ROM so you can hear the dialogue from a native speaker, and hopefully get some perfect pronunciation out there. The dialogue you see behind me, as I just finished writing up here, it's something you probably hear when you first got off the plane. It's very simple. It's simple, hello, how are you doing? And the transcript that I've chosen here is the IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet. And the reason I've done that is because, in my experience, it's the most accurate. Learning Khmer, if you've ever dabbled around in Thai or Burmese, there's no universal transcript, and so very similar to other Western languages that have an alphabet, you have the alphabet itself, and there's no transcription for the actual pronunciation. And so a lot of times the actual spelling of the alphabet can differ from the pronunciation. And so when that happens, it becomes difficult to learn language or know how to pronounce, especially when a native speaker is not around. And so today, to make it clear, and especially for those of us since it's the first lesson who aren't familiar with the actual Khmer script itself, I've decided to use the IPA. To sort of spell everything out. And of course, if you're really serious about learning Khmer, I'll use the IPA throughout the series, and it's definitely worth your time to invest in learning this form of transcript. Alright, and again, the first lesson we're just going to learn how the language works itself, some very basic vocabulary, and hope everyone enjoys. So, at the very top here, suasday, suasday, suasday. And suasday just means hello, hello. It's something that you use between friends or someone you're very close to. And then of course in Cambodia you're usually accompanied by the clasp of the hands and the bow. So simple, suasday, suasday. Now remember, suasday is also a very informal greeting. And so you probably wouldn't bow that just bow very low, because you'd be doing it amongst friends. If you're greeting an elder or perhaps a monk, then you'd bow a whole lot deeper, and you'd also say something else, which I'll teach here in a little bit. So the first is simple hello, suasday, suasday. Next, suasday, bona, suasday, bona. So suasday, we just learned, is just a simple hello. Bona is a little bit different. Bona. The na here, if you can hear, it's actually a long tone. Now it's important to realize that in Cambodia, or in Cambodian itself, people will differentiate between short tones and long tones. And it will actually become a different word when it's a short tone or when it's a long tone. For example, bong, bong. Well, actually two different words. One will mean to pay and one will mean you. So it's very important to differentiate these when you're speaking or when you're listening itself. So here we see bona. Now I've used the IPA system to illustrate this by adding a colon mark at the very end. So this na is actually a long, flat tone. Now the short tone that you hear, a lot of times you hear, let's see, when a short tone comes here, ain, do, na, nyum, do, suasday, suasday, yep. It's not really a short tone, suasday. I'll let you know when a short tone comes around, but it's very similar to a Mandarin fourth tone, a falling tone, or if you've had some experience with the Vietnamese language, the dropping tone, that's accompanied by the lower spot, as we say in the community. It just means the tone drops off. Okay? Alright, so here we go. Susday Bona, and again, Bona is just a name, a common name here in Cambodia. Tani, Tani, again another name. You listen, ni is a long flat tone. Tani, Ain, Dona, Ain, Dona. Now, Ain here is a very simple you. And so remember, so they sort of set the tone for this. In Cambodian, there's also a very specific honorific system. And so they is between close friends. And so the word for you has several forms in Cambodian, as it does in several languages. This is a more closely, we're close friends. Perhaps maybe you're my girlfriend, maybe not, or maybe we're just good buddies. Ain, so very close you. Though just means to go. To go. It's important to note in Cambodian, verbs will not have any conjugations, and nouns will not have any plural or singular forms. They're all considered universally plural or singular, and you listen to context to decide which is which makes it really easy in learning the language and the grammar itself. So we have ain, you, thou, to go, na is where. And remember, listen closely. Na is a long tone here. So moving on, knyom, I, knyom, do, same here. I, so we know to go, or go, knyom, do, sala. So what we have right here is just going to be school. I go to school. So in Cambodian, you don't need to or the or a. Those particles just do not exist. And so very simple. I go to school is understood by everyone. Knyom do sala. And very important at the very end here, lia hai. So this would just be a simple goodbye. At the bottom, lia hai. Whoop, excuse me. Goodbye. Alright, very simple here. If you noticed, some very quick explanation of what's going on here with the script itself. You'll notice that you see a lot of sort of small figures up and below the actual script line. Well, those are two things. Number one, there's either going to be a vowel, or number two, there's going to be what's we call a zheng or aksa zheng. Actually be a subconsonant itself. And so what happens when you have those present in the script is what it means is there's two consonants that are pronounced together. And when they're pronounced together, there's usually going to be a very short puff of air, a very short exhaling sound that comes with it. For example, susaday, your first subscript you see at the bottom is ua. This right here is saw ua, sua, saw. This right here is thaw, a, stay. And this is how sounds are made. And we'll talk about this in detail in later lessons, so there's nothing to get worried about now. Alright, so let's listen to the CD-ROM really quick and see if everyone can follow along. Alright.
Susday Bona. Dani ai tới na. Nhóm tới sala. Li hai. Susday Bona. Dani ai tới na. Nhóm tới sala. Li hai.
Alright, vocabulary section.
Ca Santani.
Vocabulary. Susday. Ain. Knyom. I. Tư. Na. Sala. Li hai. Alright, very good. Very good. Hope everyone's clear about that. Very quickly, you may say, well, I just arrived in Cambodia. It would be a little bit rude to use a very informal way of speaking to speak to everyone. Well, that's true. And so very quickly, although Susaday is pretty much universally accepted, I don't think people think too much, there is a more formal greeting out there, which is Jumrip Sua. Let me write the IPA out for you. Oh, let's read. Jumrip Sua. Jumrip Sua. Oh, excuse me, that's Sua should be. It's been a while since I've used the iPad system. My apologies. Jumrip Sua. And what this basically is, it's the same meaning as Susday, but it's just a little bit more formal. Perhaps if you see someone older, an elder, or a monk or whatnot. When I greet them, first I would clasp my hands, I would bow a little bit lower. At least I would be lower than them, and then I would say, ah, Jumrip Sua, Jumrip Sua. And it would just be a very, very formal greeting. Next, Aing, which is a great word to use when informal, when among friends. For you, I would change this. I would probably use, if I was talking to perhaps a monk or an elder or an official himself, I would use lok. Let me get this in here. Lok. And so remember, I have the two dots right here. And what does that mean? It means it's a long tone. Okay, so I'm stressing this out. I'm going to stretch out this tone. Lok, lok. And when you're first starting speaking, if you want to exaggerate this, and just lok, that's fine. Just so people can tell the difference. And so again, just to review very quick, Susday, hello. Susday bona, hello bona. Dani, Dona. Hey, Dani, where are you going? Kinyomdo Sala. I'm going to the school. Lia hai, goodbye, goodbye. And again, there's no conjugations in the Khmer language, so if you want to switch this Kinyom I to Ain, or Lok, or you go to school, or he goes to school, or I can say, Jason, Bill, Sam, Sala. They go to school, he goes to school, Jason goes to school. Alright, so it should be very easy to learn. Again, if you have any questions, please be free to write at the very bottom of the comment section. Again, I'm not a native speaker, so I'm trying my best here, and I apologize if there's some discrepancies in the pronunciation or the grammar or the IPA itself. To my knowledge, there shouldn't be. And alright, hope you enjoyed class. Thank you.